Hello everyone, welcome to the video on how to get organic polymer for Ark Survival Evolved. In this video, I'm going to show you the 6 best ways to harvest organic polymer, and I've rated them in terms of difficulty, so easy to hard, but also in terms of how much you get, so low yield versus high yield. This will help both new and experienced players on how to get the most organic polymer. Polymer is a material that is used in many mid to late game items for Ark. Crafted polymer has a benefit that it doesn't expire, but it requires a lot of resources to make, such as cementing paste and obsidian. These are valuable resources that can be used for other items in mid to late game. Organic polymer can easily be used as a substitute and can be harvested from many creatures and plants in the game. On the Extinction DLC map, corrupted nodules can be used in place of organic polymer. Coming in at number 6, we have the penguin or the kairaku. Kairakus are a really easy source of organic polymer. For difficulty, I'm going to say that this is easy, and for the yield or amount you get, I'm going to say that this is quite low. On some maps like the center and the island, they are one of the very few creatures that produce organic polymer, the other being the Hesperornis. Because they are a non-threatening creature who often flees when they're attacked, they are a great source of polymer for new or early game players. After performing a bunch of testing with harvesting the penguins, it's important to know that the best weapon for harvesting penguins is actually a club, and the club is actually more efficient than the chainsaw. And an additional detail to know is that the baby or juvenile penguins will often yield more polymer than killing the adult ones. When it comes to early game teams that can help you harvest the polymer from penguins, some of the best options are the moss chops and the Pelagornis. The moss chops has a special feature whereby when you level it up, you can also put specific levels into harvesting resources. In this case, we can put resources into harvesting organic polymer. With the moss chops, you'll need to use the secondary attack or have it whistle onto targets and collect the bodies of the dead penguins. The Pelagornis is another great option in terms of harvesting polymer. It's not as efficient as the moss chops, but it's much more mobile. It can go on land and water, and in addition, it actually has a weight reduction for organic polymer, so you can harvest large amounts and fly back to base. For number 5, we have the dead Ichthyosaurus on the beaches in the map, Valguero. These spawn as a resource similar to a rock or a metal node. These can be harvested to obtain organic polymer. The difficulty is low, but the yield is also kind of low to medium-ish. This is because there's a set amount and you have to wait quite a while for them to respawn. Located in clusters along the white sandy beach areas around the central lake, you can see that there are groups of dolphins that have washed up and died on the shore. If you need coordinates for these, you can check the description of this video, but here is where they are located on the map. When you harvest the dead dolphin carcasses, you get spoiled meat, hide, and organic polymer. The best tool for harvesting these is the chainsaw. You can get really large amounts of polymer using that. The next best harvesting tools are the pickaxe and then the hatchet. I was not able to successfully harvest with a sword, a mining drill, or the club. You can also harvest these with creatures, but I found that the highest yield was actually from the chainsaw. Coming in at number 4, we have the Mantis. I would say this is medium in difficulty and medium in yield. Mantis are a creature that can be found in desert and volcano biomes across many maps in Ark, as well as Rockwell's Garden on Gensis 2. Some of the best maps for harvesting mantises include Scorched Earth, Ragnarock, Crystal Isles, and Lost Island. Mantis are often found in groups of 2 or 3 wandering around the desert or the volcanic biomes. They are highly aggressive and have 2 kinds of attack, including a pounce attack, which can cause a lot of damage to you and your teams. It's recommended that you kill them with a strong mount such as a wyvern or a rex, and try and avoid harvesting their bodies because their bodies can be best harvested by tools instead of creatures. When it comes to the tools for harvesting mantis, the best one by far is the chainsaw. Second best is the sword, and then following up with the pickaxe. There are other tools that either have a very low yield of polymer or don't work at all. When it comes to creature harvesting, most of them are quite disappointing and have quite low yields. One of the best creatures is actually the wyvern. Even the mantis itself is not very good. So your best bet is to stick with the tool and chainsaw the dead carcasses. Coming in at number 3, we have the Karkinos. Difficulty is rated as medium and yield is rated as medium to high. The map Aberration is home to many Karkinos. They can also be found in the Aberrant biome on the Valguero map, Gensis Part 1 in the Lunar Caves, and on Crystal Isles in the Floating Islands. They are also in the Underwater Trench on Gensis 2, but that is surrounded by many sharks and I wouldn't bother going there to harvest these. Karkinos are really tough customers when it comes to killing them. On Aberration, I like to use the Aberrant Spino because of the water buff. You can also use a Drake or a Megalosaurus is a good option. On other maps that don't have dino restrictions, you might want to consider a Rex or a Wyvern. When it comes to harvesting the polymer, using a creature gives you an okay amount. You can use a leveled up Muschop with levels into polymer harvesting to harvest the Karkinos as well. On Aberration, this is really tricky because the amount of dangers near the water, the Sarcos and the Spinos as well. But on Crystal Isles, you can do it. It harvests a decent amount, but it's not as good as one of the tools that you can use. But again, the chainsaw really is the best tool for the job in this case. So try not to harvest the body with your creature. If you do, that's okay. But if you can leave the body and then harvest with the chainsaw, that is going to give you an insane amount of organic polymer. While I harvest all this polymer, if you think the information in this video is good, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can see here that from one crab we got 274 polymer. Coming in at number 2 is the Honeybee Cave on the map Crystal Isles. Difficulty is medium to high and the yield is high. There are 2 ground entrances to the honey cave and 1 entrance from above. The ground entrances are located at 31.9 and 31.9, and the entrance on the other side is at 30.8 and 30.6. The entrance to the cave is quite large, therefore you can fit a lot of creatures in here. You will see that there are a lot of bees in the cave, and in addition to the bees, other threats include bears and thylers, so you do need to bring something strong in here to fight everything off. It's important to note that a bee sting will dismount you from your mount, unless you are on a bear which is immune to its stings. Once you try to harvest the beehives, you will get attacked by the bees, so I recommend just heading in and killing any of the bees that are in the nearby area with your bear. Attacking a bee will cause the others in the area to swarm, but I think it's best to get rid of them all early on. Again, they won't dismount you from the bear. One of the biggest threats in this cave is the other bears. These guys hit hard and you will get teamed on here. I was able to take them out with my bear, but just be warned that these guys can be really deadly. They nearly took down my bear. The other thing you'll need to watch out for in the cave is the kind of honey status effect you get. So when you touch the honey that's on the floor, you get kind of covered in these honey globules and you'll get a webbed effect. The webbed effect is kind of similar to a spider, I guess, in that it slows you down and your movement speed is a lot lower. Once you have managed the threats, you need to get to harvesting the beehives. There's 2 ways you can do this, with a tool, and you guessed it, it's the chainsaw. And you can see that you can get a lot of polymer using the chainsaw. As stated, the bees in the area will attack, you can chainsaw them or get back on the bear to take them down. That was about 180 polymer per hive, and you can see that there are lots and lots of hives in here to harvest. You can also use a tamed creature. Of all the creatures, it's the Dodicarus that is the best at harvesting the beehives. Normally all they're good for is stone or maybe hitting some light poles on extinction, but they are really good at harvesting these beehives. So using the tail swinging attack, we are getting about 120 per hive. You can just continue to move around the cave, rolling around, harvesting these hives. You are vulnerable to being dismounted by the bees when they attack you, so just be really careful of that. I've bought my bear as security. So if you have the power to clear out all of the threats and manage the bee sting attacks, it is highly recommended you hit up this cave to get yourself loads of polymer by harvesting all of these beehives. Coming in at number 1 is the polymer plant on Aberration. I had actually played this map for a long time and Only discovered later on that there are organic polymer plants. The rating for these is a difficulty of very high, but also a yield of very, very high. The polymer plants look like glowing white orbs, and they're found in the red zone or the rad zone on Aberration. One of the best spots to farm the polymer plants is where the blue zone meets the radiation zone at 60.4 and 31.4. You harvest the polymer plants similar to how you would harvest a berry bush. As I said, the difficulty is quite high. It is in the radiation zone, so you will need a hazmat suit. You will also need to have a light pet to keep the nameless away. There are quite a few threats in the area, so if you have something strong, bring that along for protection. Harvesting by hand only gives you a small amount of polymer, about 20 per node. You can use a sickle to get a little bit more, about 28 per node. You can also harvest with a mining drill that gets around 40-ish per node, so double what you get by hand. However, the best way to farm these plants is to actually use a creature. When using a creature, you will need to keep in mind that this is in the radiation zone. Most of the harvesting creatures are not radiation resistant, so you will need to make sure they have mushroom brew to stop them taking damage. Just a note to say that the moss chops does not actually work in harvesting these plants. One of the best creatures for the job is an aberrant bear. You can see that we are getting around 130 per polymer plant. So harvesting all of these, it is quickly adding up to a lot of polymer. Bears also have pretty good weight. So you can see that we have been harvesting a lot of the plants in the area. So we have now encumbered our bear. You can see all of the polymer in the inventory. That is a lot of polymer for just a couple of minutes in harvesting this area. The main reason why this spot is so amazing for polymer is that in just a few minutes we left the area and came back and all of the bushes have respawned, meaning that you can just harvest them again, which makes it really easy for gaining lots and lots of polymer in a short amount of time. Another creature that you can use that's a very good fiber harvester is the Gigantopithecus. I am using the C attack here, the tertiary attack, kind of like tickle the plants. A bear is superior though because we haven't finished harvesting all the plants and we've already encumbered our Gigantopithecus. So if you have a bear, use that one. If you want to go all out, you can use a tech strider with a harvesting attachment to go pure and harvest the polymer plants. As you can see, this gets an insane amount of polymer, but there are a few issues I've found when using this method. One you can see is that you still need to use the mushroom brew. The second issue is that it also picks up so many berries, thatch, metal, stone. Inventory management is really hard and you can't link it to a dedicated storage because that doesn't work with organic polymer. The next issue is that even though I have a light pet and I have a glow stick on the strider, somehow the nameless keep spawning, and I think it is because the light pet is too high above the ground to stop them from spawning. This can cause issues if you get too many nameless. You can end up with a subterranean Reaper King. There is a way around this though. If you get the strider that has the saddlebag attachment, you can bring that along with you. If it has the harvesting attachment at the front, even better. What you can do here is you can use the harvester if you like to get the polymer and just hope that the nameless don't come. Another thing that you can do is to use your mining drill. That way you can specifically target the polymer without getting all the berries as well. So what you will need to do is get out your mining drill, bring up the radial menu, and then enable resource collection from your mining drill. You will see purple glowing sparkles. This is the area in which you can use your mining drill and the resources will be ported straight back to your tech strider. You'll need to have your tech strider set to follow. And what you can do is head down and harvest the polymer with your mining drill. And as you can see, it's being removed from my inventory. So it is being removed from my inventory into the tech strider, which has reduced weight because it has the saddlebags. So you can run around this area and infinitely farm polymer. And it's all being removed and stored in the strider. Now this strider has almost 2,000 weight in it, so you can farm for ages. What you need to do is just make sure that you keep an eye on enabling mushroom brew on the strider so it doesn't take too much damage. So that is it, the 6 best ways to harvest organic polymer for Ark Survival Evolved. Let me know in the comments below what's your favorite way to harvest organic polymer, or did I miss something? If you have appreciated the information in this video, I'd really like it if you could subscribe to the channel. It helps me get good information out to other Ark players. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.